What does it take to be extraordinary?
You have to be ordinary and then a little bit extra. If you think about that, isn't extraordinary just more under the bell?
More ordinary?
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, you're
Ordinary,
right.
ordinary plus.
Ordinary except extraordinary. Very generic.
But that is the question.
How would you say it otherwise then? Would you say out of the ordinary?
Super
or
ordinary.
super ordinary?
Which would be
With
over.
lots
but
and
yeah,
lots of
lots
ordinary.
of ordinary. Yeah.
What levels of ordinary are there? Why did it
Extraordinary.
bring up skincare regimen builder?
Wow.
From NEPM Studio 61A aboard Battleship Iowa, it's Scuttlebutt, the official podcast of the National Museum of the Surface Navy in affiliation with the Surface Navy Association's Battleship Iowa chapter. And yes, you heard that right, NEPM Studio. We are actually doing this podcast from the ship's television studio from the 1980s. We'll get into that as we that's what the whole podcast is about today. First of all, we're going to go around and introduce ourselves. I will start quickly. I'm Marianne Fengler. I run comms for the ship, and I've got with me
Mike Getcher, Chief Operating Officer, Chief Engineer, stuff like that.
Davey Campfield, Chief Information Officer, Chief Technical Officer, and stuff like that.
And I'm Gary Lopes. I'm the manager for the Information, Innovation, Engineering, and Technology Group.
Sometimes filled with information.
Sometimes I do that too.
And I'm Jonathan Williams, President CEO, and I don't know, the chief troublemaker.
You're extraordinary at that.
We were just talking.
I'm extraordinary.
Extraordinary.
Or
I'm over ordinary.
extraordinary.
Over, yeah.
Very
You
ordinary.
stood in line twice for that one.
Yes, extraordinary.
So we're super excited to have Gary in here today because we're super excited about the fact that we're in the TV studio. And I think, first of all, I want to know, David, what was it like? What kinds of stuff was being broadcast out of here when you were active on the ship?
There are two things that I remember the TV studio for. One was broadcasting Captain's Mast.
Oh, really?
And the
Describe what that is, though.
that is Article 19 from the Uniform Code of Military Justice, non-judicial punishment. So that's typically where you get to stand in front of the old man, a.k.a. the captain, and explain why you were violating the UCMJ, and he usually took some money and some rank away from you or some freedom or some other things. So,
Would they broadcast that to everybody?
so not very often.
Okay.
Used to, like
Wow.
under Sequest, it was, I think it was always up in the import cabin, but I seem to remember at least one time that they were broadcasting Mast.
I'm thinking that's a new
Wow.
management technique. Maybe we should be broadcasting.
We could do that in the 1MC. We could get everybody.
They
It's like,
do
There
it.
you go.
They do it in Britain. You know, I was drinking coffee as I was driving down the M4, I think it was, and my brother-in-law, when we stopped, he's like, "Oh my God, you were not driving. You didn't have both hands on the wheel." And I'm like, "So, that's illegal over here, and they will publish your name and picture in the paper." And it's like
Captain
wow.
Horatio Hornblower stuff, you know.
Yeah,
Crew,
exactly.
attention for flogging.
Exactly.
Come on up.
Exactly. Nail that man's foot to the deck.
You know what Marianne did today?
So the other thing that they did in here, though, was when Enlisted Surface Warfare Specialist was fairly new, and ESWAS, and you have to have that now in order to advance at all, but it was kind of new and shiny at the time, not brand new. But they used to hold the ESWAS qualification boards like a game show. So you'd have contestants up here, and you'd have the Master Chief asking questions, and it was set up sort of like Jeopardy.
Oh, that's cool. You didn't have like the captain in here making announcements or anything?
He did captain's call. So again, you know, not to pro or con any one of the captains, but we had some of the COs would hold captain's call, aka your ability to ask anything to the captain. That would have been done down on the mess decks, but we also had a captain who would just hold captain's call from the TV studio, and then his questions were, you know, screened.
Prepared.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Canned.
That's
Well, you
kinda
could
cool.
call in like a game show, but there was no guarantee that your question was going to make it in front of him.
Why is it when I'm sitting in here, I feel like I want to do like, you know, we're a 1980 ship, and I want to reinvent like Jerry Springer and Maury Povich and stuff. Put some chairs right here. Since we're in a TV studio, we should do that may go viral on YouTube. Our own
There's
Maury
some
Povich
virus.
or Donahue.
Phil Donahue.
Oh
Yeah,
my
Jerry
God.
Salazar. I mean, not Jerry Salazar. What's his name?
No, stop.
Gerardo.
Geraldo Rivera.
Geraldo
Yeah.
Rivera.
Geraldo
Yeah.
Rivera.
There you go.
Wow.
And film it with the Betacam.
Well, the
Yeah, because
Betacam's
there is
over
a
there.
we can
Betacam
do
in
that.
There is,
here.
and it's
Absolutely.
fully functional Betacam, as a
very
matter of
cool.
fact.
It is.
Wow.
It's
Do
fully
Do we have a
functional.
beta machine to watch the Betacam?
We
We
do.
do.
We do.
No, we don't. Are you serious?
We do.
Uh-huh.
We have 8-track
Wow.
tapes too?
We do
We
not
do.
have. Do we have 8-track?
We have real tapes.
Do we have 8-track?
There are standard video 8-tracks. I
Yeah,
think.
so that, he's
Whoa.
talking
Yeah.
about like, the whole ka-chunk, ka-chunk
Right.
8-tracks.
Wow.
That big
When I was a
cassette.
kid, I would listen to my parents' 8-tracks, and I memorized the track change in the middle of the song. So you'd be singing along
you-
with the song, and then go ka-thunk, and yeah.
You know what I like? Just behind us is also the audio studio, the record
Yep.
playing. And so
Yeah.
DJ.
when you first come aboard the ship, and you have this flashback where the whole studio process is in there, and the old DJ is sitting there spinning the records and doing the whole thing.
Venus
It's a
Flytrap.
it's a full radio booth with 2 turntables,
Yeah.
fully functional, an audio board, and we have one of our crew members who loves to come in on a Saturday and have a whole live show that he does the entire day.
Really?
For who?
For the audience that we turn on the ship, we turn on all the TV sets,
What?
and that's
I
where the
didn't
audio
know.
comes
Yeah,
in.
yeah.
I had no
so,
idea.
So
Well, we need to film this on social media.
Sure.
Like,
Yeah, we do.
Like,
So-
will he dress up in 80s gear? Like, can we
I
do
could probably
total,
convince
like, 80s stuff? Like,
Yeah.
Good Morning Vietnam, like
Exactly.
that kind of thing?
That's-
Oh,
that's
we need to
60s.
do
We
this.
need to do that,
60s,
though.
yeah.
Totally
We have-
Venus
wanna do this.
Flytrap, if you want to go to the 70s, WKRP. Or
Is that Wolfman Jack?
You can reenact the-
WIOA is
You
what
can
we used to
reenact
call
the
the
Thanksgiving scenario for WKRP.
studio. With God as my
That would be
witness, I swear
I
I
thought turkeys could fly.
So we're a little bit far afield here. So now this is fantastic to be in the studio. Gary, what possessed you to start the restoration
Yep.
up here?
I just can't stand it when there's a space on the Iowa that's sitting idle. Usually it's full of junk and things that are inappropriate for that particular space.
Including my office.
You're very inappropriate.
yeah.
Full of me, junk.
Extraordinarily inappropriate, as a matter of fact.
Sorry.
But the whole crew that I work with, we have this image of what the ship should have looked like back in the 80s, and the studio was part of that.
Yeah.
And recreating that as it once was is something that we really embrace and get a lot of pleasure out of doing it and bringing it back, so that when we have our visitors on board, we can actually take them here and tell them about the types of programming that went on in this very room, and then show them the radio booth and show them the control center that's in the space just aft of us here. Yeah. So it's something we just really love to do, and you can't really see it here, but all the studio lights are in place, and those came from other ships that had similar studios,
And they're real.
and they're real, and we could raise the temperature in this room at about 150 degrees in no time.
Yeah,
if we
we're
were to turn
good
those on.
right now.
Yeah, they're not
not on right
LEDs. They're not LEDs.
Yeah.
They're the real thing.
It's fun to restore this stuff, and I agree to using space too for the intended purpose. And one of the other spaces that I'm reminded of is when Ed Hunzinger, our awning guy, who sadly passed away some years ago, he came down and restored the sail locker. Now, it reminds me too that this is a community. This is a city.
Yeah.
You have someone who can sew things. Now, granted, it's not what you would at home, maybe, but it was amazing that he brought commercial sewing machines that literally just bolted into place because they're such a standard. And he got all the stuff down there, the rolls of the fabric and everything, just all restored. And Donna still uses it, and a few other people. I think Sue's been down there too. So it's really neat to have those special places, the places that we wouldn't modify,
Right.
used the way they were.
It's part of the ethos we talk about here. I was recently at another museum ship, and we were talking about things we did the same and things we did different. And one of the things that I love about Iowa is sort of a car person thing. I say car person, not car guy, because my wife's a bigger car guy than I am. But
She's a car guy.
You go any way you want with that one. But you don't get a classic car in order to sit it on a shelf. You get a classic car to restore it and drive it. And one of the things that I love about what we do around here is try to get everything functional that we can get functional, and then use it as close as we can to how it was originally used.
Yeah, Jay Leno has that ethos too with his Duesenbergs, all of his cars. In fact, he wants to actually see them operate and feels that that's their rightful place, is on the road and operable. Now he does make a few modifications to make sure they're a little bit safer. For example, brakes. Brakes are good. He jokes about that a lot, but still, it's a neat ethos to have.
All right, very much so.
But there's a contrast out there in our industry, which is don't touch it. Just polish it and leave it the way it is, and there's value in that as well. And you're not going to touch the Mona Lisa, right?
No.
There's a movement to do that. They say that the dress was added later, but the only way they can tell is to laser remove the paint. Nobody's interested in damaging the Mona Lisa to get there. So
why am I not surprised?
Yeah. So Gary, how long did it take you guys to do what you did in here, and what all did you do?
Well, of course, the job isn't done yet because the control studio is still being put together. We need a whole section of 19-inch racks to be installed on the pedestal, and then all of the control equipment will be put in there. But we've been working on this roughly a little over 2 years, I believe, roughly, and cleaning it out, redoing the floors, cleaning the walls, putting up the curtains.
Can we get a green screen?
Oh yeah.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Would there have been a green screen in here?
No.
No.
Oh.
No,
Not in the
because
1980s.
key chroma stuff wasn't going on in there.
I totally think we should do a YouTube show, 3 to 5 minute segments, in 80s style. We'll get the 80s blazers and everything, and we'll have like you can film it. And you can kind of get the choppy view, like the square box, and we put it on YouTube, and it's a reinvention of like the 80s. I think
like
that
a Saturday
would
Night Live
You
news
need-
skit.
it'd totally be cool.
I think it would be
a
great,
lot
too.
more hair.
I like the
more.
idea.
Yeah.
I want the whole feathered bangs and the big.
Yeah.
hair.
Like the big
I mean, if we
hair.
have to get
Yeah.
wigs or something, we get wigs. Like we should do
Get a
this,
plaid,
and we
yeah.
get seats like 80s seats in here, like it's a talk show.
I need the white trousers
Yeah.
and the salmon, not pink, but salmon shirt with the whole Miami Vice vibe.
Yeah,
going
Miami
on.
Vice thing.
Costuming, this could be awesome.
White
This would
cat
go
shoes.
viral.
Gary's like, we came
Gary's
in
like,
here
"Oh,
to talk
God."
about the studio. What's happening?
But you know, the best way you could highlight the extraordinary work that Gary and the team did was to put it on YouTube in 80s style.
That would
You-
take
you're
it back
laughing
to
at
where
me.
it should have been. Yeah,
You're laughing at me, but I think
I'm
something
not.
like that would really go viral. I think that would take off. People would just laugh their butts off, and they'd wait for the next segment to come out.
Sure.
We get the wigs, we get the horrible looking blazers.
Yeah, the plaid blazer.
The
with
plaid
with the
blazers.
tie that's about a foot
We
wide.
we
Eyes odd shirts.
We do an improv conversation, like we figure out what the conversation should be, and we do an improv conversation, and we go off for like 3 or 5 minutes on the improv conversation.
Which would
This
be
could
a
be fun.
lot shorter than the improv conversation that happens on the podcast.
Oh well, maybe it's a 7-minute improv conversation. But you know what we could do is like this session we could actually interview Gary as if it's the 80s.
Sure. Yeah. Come up with the whole dialogue for it and everything.
Yeah, a
I
whole
agree.
dialogue
Yeah.
and
I don't know if we're scaring him
and then
away
you
from
and
ever
then you
talking
start
to
the
us
music.
again.
We get 80s music
need good-
behind
you
it.
need, like,
We've got 80s music. Let me
Van-
tell you,
Van
we've got a
Halen
whole
bumpers.
library in there.
Do we? Okay,
absolutely.
perfect.
Yeah.
This is great. This is activating a historical asset.
So dragging this kicking and screaming back to the question that was asked about the live show that is done when Gary's crew comes in here. It's broadcast on the Site TV. Site TV is actually up and running out of the control room. Gary, I'll let you talk a little bit about that.
We have 3 TV channels that we run. Usually,
What?
we usually run movies on them. 1980s
Why
movies.
don't
by
I
the
have
way.
a TV in my
You
office?
do, and it
And,
is connected to Site.
It is
Nobody
not.
told me.
And then two
fine.
radio channels that we broadcast 80s music.
Seriously?
Oh,
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I connected yours to Site. We've got the drop in there. I chased it. So.
Oh my gosh, I totally would.
So
put
we'll
that
find
on.
you a 1980s TV with
Yeah.
a real CRT in it.
Is the one in
No.
the captain's cabin playing stuff too?
No, I don't
no,
think
we
we've
haven't done
connected
that,
it,
but the one in the wardroom does.
But
as
the
an
one in the
example.
wardroom does, and they'll play on the modern TVs. It
Yeah.
plays on mine. It's got
Are you
the
playing like the Jeffersons and the?
Oh, what
what are you
playing
playing?
the other day?
Days of Our Lives.
Days of
David.
Our Lives.
Yeah,
right,
mostly
so-
movies.
Mostly movies. Okay.
People don't know about Days of Our Lives, and so although we should absolutely play Days of Our
Go
Lives.
ahead, David. Tell them about watching Days of Our Lives
So, at least
on the Iowa.
at least in Auxiliaries Division, the or A Gang as it was known, the workday was supposed to end at 16:30, but at 1600 in Port Norfolk, Days of Our Lives came on, and they would rebroadcast some of the local stations on Site. And so at 4:00 in the berthing, all these manly men, because we were all male crew, were standing around watching
Bo and Hope.
Bo and Hope, exactly, and Stefano,
Wow.
and Stefano, and the commentary was not repeatable here, but it was sort of like anybody
Do it.
anybody like an MST3K fan. So Mystery Science Theater 3000 with the running commentary on the really bad sci-fi. Yeah, it was a lot like that, only against the Days of Our Lives.
So we have the capability to do that. Gosh, this is
so
awesome.
Cool. It's so cool.
We need to do this.
The other thing you did is the telephone system is restored. I'm like obsessed now. I go pick up telephones all over the place to see if there's a dial tone.
And then you ask the standard question:
Is your refrigerator running?
Yes.
You better go catch it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Well, how do you use the phone? I haven't figured it out yet. Do you dial the operator?
No, you just pick it up and
Dial
direct
Do I pick it up? Do I get an
Just-
operator when I pick it up?
There's
No.
a whole directory.
Not yet.
Operator.
No, not yet.
Operator, can you please connect me to David Camfield's office?
I'm like feeling exceptionally old, and you're not that much younger than me. But you looked at like, how do I use the phone? And I'm like, I don't know whether you're legit or not. Some of these are rotary phones.
I like the rotary ones. I feel comfortable.
Rotary
with
ones are
those.
cool. I feel comfortable with them too. I actually have an app on my cell phone that has the rotary dial on it. It makes me feel better.
Okay, I want to come back here. So it took you 2 years to do this.
A little over 2 years.
Yeah.
You had to clean it all up and to get it to the state that it's in now. And in this space here, particularly the studio, we tried to recreate the way it would have been in the 80s. As an example, back there is an administrator's desk with a real Selectric typewriter on it, I might add.
And is that sticker original?
Yes.
Okay.
All
Which
that's-
sticker?
The one that says trespassers will be violated.
All of that up there.
Ingalls Shipbuilding. That's a classic too.
Yeah.
And the carton
Make my
of
day. The Make My Day Iowa.
the
Is
carton
that-
of poison on top of the.
That's a prop.
We can't talk about that on air now because that would be
That's
illegal.
true. It's probably is illegal.
Yeah.
It's a certain Philip Morris product.
Yes.
That's,
Yeah.
That's sitting a carton.
Philip Morris.
of
Philip.
a certain Philip
How's
Morris.
I knew Philip too.
Sure you did. You got a lot of my money when I was a kid.
Sorry.
Not anymore.
You guys also replaced the transformers so they're quieter.
Yeah, they do-
I'm
they
gonna
don't-
have those closed up, by the way. That's on my list of things to do.
They don't hum like they did before. They're still a little on the warm side,
Yeah.
but they do work. And yeah, we'll get the bottoms cleaned up.
All right,
Another
so
80s show. Transformers.
That's right.
More
Yeah.
than meets the eye.
Yeah, that's another 80s
See,
show.
I go back another decade or two to Gigantor, which is the original Transformer.
You guys are all so young. I can't believe
We
it.
are young, Gary. I'm
I
sorry.
didn't have any of those.
What were your
when I was a kid.
cartoons, Gary?
Bugs Bunny, Porky the
that
Pig.
works.
How'd you
You
keep
know.
your hair?
Huh? My hair?
Let's get straight to the point.
Wow.
Is that an IE&T innovation as well?
Wow.
Yeah, we cooked
What's
that
your
up
secret?
down below, down in the engine rooms.
I'm not sure Gary's going to join us anymore.
I know. I think we're.
I do enjoy watching them when I'm at home, though.
Yeah. Yes, far away from you guys.
Exactly.
Okay, got one more for you, and then this craziness. I don't even know, but team. Who else is on the team? Give you guys a shout out here.
Well, Chris Barker is one of them, and Chris does a lot of great things, mostly mechanical in nature and in painting and restoring things. Matt Orlich, who's worked a lot on the studio. Matt has done a lot of work in the control room and bringing back some of the equipment there. Carl Wilvert did restoration of a lot of the big tape decks that are in there, the big video tape decks, the Sonys that didn't work when we first put them in, and he brought them back to life. Jerry Shaw, who is the disc jockey.
Nice.
Jerry was instrumental in getting a lot of the records that we have. These are full LPs that date back to the 80s that were installed there, along with a lot of the videotapes that we have that we used to show for the movies on Saturdays and Sundays when we're down here. So let's see. We have a lot of guys. I mean, we're fortunate that this particular team, as a part of the entire crew for the Iowa, is really talented and innovative and enthusiastic, and we just have a good time restoring things on the Iowa, making it look like it did back in the 80s.
How does it feel being in here actually recording something in the space after all that work?
It's a little odd, it's a little strange, but it's fun. I'm loving it that the space is being used as it once was, especially for the podcast here. I think it's great.
Oh, we're gonna use it more. We're doing a talk show. We're doing an 80s talk show. So hey, how many? You got a lot of records?
I'm going to show them to you after this.
Okay, what do you play, VHS or beta?
VHS.
VHS.
This
Okay,
is all VHS.
so to our listeners out there, if you got a big VHS collection or an 80s record collection, should we tell them to send it in?
Do we want to find a place to store it?
Okay,
Yeah,
so we don't want too much
Never
more
mind.
stuff. I figured I'd throw it out there, but maybe
it's
we
a
don't
good
want
idea.
more stuff.
I got some Barney videos I'll bring.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
Wow.
But we could use some Days of Our Lives videos.
We could use Days of Our Lives video.
And recreate
because
that event.
1630, 1987, 88, 89.
Yeah.
If you have late 80s Days of Our Lives, that would certainly recreate a
If the
moment.
characters have big hair, send the video.
Send it-
Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Right? What you gonna do now, Bo? You dropped your gun. What's up?
You know, maybe what we do is we do commentary, like Mystery Science Theater, but we do commentary in 80s outfits, sitting in here like a talk show, talking about Navy and military videos, and we do like 5-minute chunks.
Oh my gosh, we
Oh.
could do 115-volt, The Deadly Shipmate. That is absolutely the
That would be
worst
it,
Navy
yes.
training film I have ever
Would that
seen.
not be fun? And it,
Oh, yeah.
like
You're
totally
right.
in the 80s outfit, like we reinvent it, like this would have been broadcast on the ship, but we're like in the talk show and we're not supposed to be recorded, but everything we're saying is being recorded. And oh gosh, this could be fun.
Squirrel.
Sorry, that would be fun. You know what? It's about activating the space. Would that not be? I mean,
No, I'm totally for it. I think it's great.
I would be there.
Yeah, I mean, this is really the culmination of all the work that was done, and I've been looking forward to this.
80s gear and big hair in
Well,
your space.
yeah, the space being used.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that would be cool.
Running down the 80s rabbit hole, not so much, or what?
Well, you know.
Gary is so reserved. So Gary works as part of the technology team and so under me, and he is absolutely an unsung hero.
Yes, very
And
much.
the guys in the IE&T, Innovation, Engineering, and Technology team, are a bunch of just super talented people who are engineers, and typically in their former lives or current lives, and they're bringing that talent here, and we are incredibly blessed. And in all seriousness, I want to say I'm very, very grateful to have you as part
Yeah,
of the
I am
team.
too.
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
very, very cool. I'm thankful. I'm saying funny stuff to activate it because actually that's that cool, which is the only reason I say that.
Yeah, it's just there are no words for how cool it is to be in this space and doing this right
I
now,
totally
even if we're
wanna
in this
do this.
completely goofy mood that I love.
No, I really, I'm
awesome.
serious. I'm not giving it up. Like we need to call BJ Lang
Oh, there
yes,
you go.
we
and
do.
bring BJ
Yes, we
Lang
do.
in on
DJ
this
in
whole
here.
thing.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And we could film like once a month. We could film like 3 or 4 segments with BJ Lang, and he'll be able to put it all together, and we will have the funnest time of our life.
Oh
Absolutely
yeah,
will.
100%.
Like
Yeah, he
this
would
could
be
be
great.
fun, and that would probably take off on social media.
It'll-
People would just laugh.
Mystery Navy Theater 2000.
Oh, something like that. Yeah, I
Right?
like that.
Oh, we should figure this out.
We need to laugh
Because
man. We need
this
to
would
laugh
be a
more.
lot
It
of
would
fun,
be
and that's
great.
who we really are. And it activates a
Yeah.
space, it activates a ship, it shows.
Yeah.
I mean, the history element of it in the 80s, and it brings it alive, and that's way better than hauling somebody in here and writing them up and giving them a counseling session on
probably
TV.
true.
Which we can
Yeah,
still
that'd be
do,
good.
by the way.
We
Yeah,
could
I
do.
We should.
but-
We should maybe reenact Captain's Mask. Next thing you know, we'll be. No, never mind. I'm not going there.
We
Gary,
could even
we-
call it Captain's Mast, but it can be like the opposite of Captain's Mast.
Oh, that's true.
Oh yeah, we
your
could do.
awards-
We could turn
do
it
your
upside
award
down.
ceremonies in here and call it Captain's Mast front and center.
We'll call it Seaman Recruit Mast.
Gary,
Well,
we love you.
Thank you.
Sorry to pull you into the middle of this.
Just want to make sure.
No, I'm feeling it.
Are you? Hugs all around. It's all good.
Where?
No, it was
You know
wonderful.
what? You know what's cool about this? This is all the stuff that usually sort of ends up on the cutting room floor, and how goofy we are before we start talking, and we get into good stuff in the podcast, but
I was thinking
This
you're,
is very
you're going to
good.
distill this, and you have like a 2.5 minute podcast.
Exactly.
The rest of it on the floor.
Gary stopped by. Have a nice day.
Gary,
So-
introduce yourself.
how's the
Okay,
hair?
that concludes our episode.
So to our podcast listeners, email us at podcast@labattleship.com and let us know whether we should do this 80s
idea.
and if so, would you like to participate in picking out the theme and the outfits that we take on?
Oh my
Oh,
gosh,
wow.
dude.
That'd be hilarious.
That's
Audience participation.
Oh,
Danger warning,
this-
Will Robinson, but it might
This
be
would
good.
be great.
We have the comments too. We could even set up a poll on social media and do that. We could have a ton of fun.
I'm a little bit nervous to see the comments on this one, but okay.
I mean, we could involve everybody across the crew. People can meet the crew this way. It's not just the podcast. I mean, obviously, we could take the podcast and take on more serious topics, and be the more serious side. But I mean, let's do a talk show. I mean, this could be fun, or just some improv or something.
I thought we were doing a talk show right now.
Well, we are.
It's kind of what the podcast is.
But now we're...
But a podcast in 80s character.
Yeah. And we're going to be historically accurate, factually inaccurate.
That is also historically accurate for some level of the 80s.
Yeah. And you know what? We could do it. We could do it.
Blue eyeshadow.
We could do it.
Wow. I'd pay money.
You know what? We could play this all a certain way. We could have the admiral of the communication studios, like the multiple studios. It's like the fleet. And then we could have the CO of the TV studio.
Oh my God.
And we could have the XO of the TV studio. And it could be like an entire its own thing. It could be its like own vessel.
Welcome to working at Iowa, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
Gosh, historically accurate. This could be great.
Well, technically, if it's historically accurate, I don't get to be in it.
Oh, you do. It's like Duffel Blog. Anybody ever read Duffel Blog?
You were 12 or 13.
Yeah, you've never read Duffel Blog? You should read Duffel Blog.
Duffel.
It is the same thing. It's a parody of everything going on in the military.
Duffel Blog is Babylon B for military people.
Oh, cool.
It is so humorous, the stuff they post.
It's the Onion. The Onion for military.
Yeah, it's just humorous to read. You read the headlines and you're like, oh my gosh, that's great. Right? And they're just really good at putting that. But I think we could have fun with this, yet activate the space and be in the period of time when the ship served and do so many different things on this while promoting what we're doing.
And have fun with it.
And have fun with it.
Yeah.
Like this is, like what we're doing is trying to connect with America, right? Connecting with America. This is laughter as a way to connect with America.
Yeah, and like I said, we need to laugh more.
Even if it ends up on the cutting room floor.
Exactly.
Yeah. It works.
Yeah.
Ooh, I'm told I can't wait to do this. We need to reach out to VJ.
Oh yeah, we do. Absolutely.
All right, sorry. That doesn't offend you. Like you guys aren't going to be upset about this at all, right?
No.
What if we drag you in as one of the guests?
Good luck. good luck.
Gary's like,
today.
I did my time.
Gary's like, now I have the T-shirt and the hat.
Yeah.
I'm not coming back.
I'm good.
Maybe.
Okay.
Maybe.
Wow,
right.
That was very diplomatically done.
Strong commitment there.
Well, can we let's give Gary the last word since
Yes,
we've been really
definitely.
goofy about this. How does it feel to have it mostly done and to have it activated and going?
Or to add on to it, what do you need to finish the rest of the control room?
That too.
What do you need?
Well, the control room is still has a bit more work. I'd say it's about 2/3 done. And as soon as I get the rack equipment in there, then we'll start putting some of the equipment in, and it's going to really look very, very closely to the photographs I have of that space.
Cool.
And once that's done, then even the camera will be connected to it, all the audio, and maybe we can even record a program using the old equipment.
Yeah,
Yep.
I love
and that'll give it that ambiance.
Yeah.
That would be awesome.
It won't be as clear and crisp. It'll be 1980s.
That's
you know?
okay.
Absolutely.
That's I like that a lot.
It'll be good.
480 by 320.
Yeah.
Well,
Right.
even if you're not a guest, in the rolling credits, we'll make you the producer.
There you go.
There you
Okay.
go.
There you
Yeah,
go. Thank
I like
you.
that a lot.
See,
So Gary's being very gracious because I'm twisting his arm to make sure that we can have modern recording capabilities in the 1980s control room, and there's some thought that goes into how to restore it to 80s specific and have it be 2025 capable.
Yeah. This is the arm wrestling my boss and I often go through because I'm the purist.
Yeah.
I want it exactly like it was.
And he's
And David's willing
kind
to
of a
make little
jerk.
adjustments here and there.
Your boss is kind of a jerk. I mean, so-
it goes all ways.
I'm just emulating.
Yeah.
It's extraordinary.
Well, this might be one of my favorite podcasts ever. This was so much fun. David, why don't you take us out?
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us on Scuttlebutt, the official podcast of the National Museum of the Surface Navy. If you have comments, questions, potentially rude gestures, please leave them in the comments or email us at podcast@labattleship.com. That's podcast at labattleship.com, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks, Gary. Thanks for putting up with us.
Thank you.